Millions of years ago, rivers and streams cut channels that carried stony pieces of the mountains eastward. Sediment eventually covered the area and filled in the ancient channels, creating vast plains. The water that permeated the gravel is mostly from these rivers. It has been down there for at least 3 million years, percolating slowly in a saturated gravel bed. As the world's largest aquifer, the Ogallala Aquifer holds 3,700 cubic kilometers of water. It lies beneath 453,000 square kilometers of the Great Plains. This region from Texas to South Dakota encompasses the breadbasket of America, the region that supplies at least 1/5 of the total annual U.S. agricultural harvest. The water from the aquifer has also become vital to municipal and industrial development in America. Until recently, most of the region had no permanent settlements. Native American tribes who used the open plains for seasonal hunting retreated to river valleys to pitch their tents. When Spanish conquistadors came through in 1541, they marched to the brink of exhaustion, never knowing that water lay beneath them. Similarly, cattle drives in the 1860s and 1870s collapsed in a perfect storm of drought, overgrazing, and falling meat prices. And early attempts at farming were plagued by soil erosion and cycles of drought that culminated in the 1930s Dust Bowl. Industrial-scale extraction of the aquifer did not begin until after World War II. Diesel-powered pumps replaced windmills, increasing output from a few gallons a minute to hundreds. Over the next 20 years, the high plains turned from brown to green. The number of irrigation wells in West Texas alone exploded from 1,166 in 1937 to more than 66,000 in 1971. By 1977, one of the poorest farming regions in the country had been transformed into one of the wealthiest, raising much of the nation's agricultural exports and fattening 40% of its grain-fed beef. But the miracle of new pumping technology was taking its toll below the prairie. By 1980, water levels had dropped by an average of nearly 10 feet throughout the region. In the central and southern parts of the high plains, some declines exceeded 100 feet. The U.S. Geological Survey found that yearly groundwater withdrawals quintupled between 1949 and 1974. In some places, farmers were withdrawing 4 to 6 feet a year, while nature was putting back half an inch. Records examined by the Lubbock Avalanche Journal in 2014 show the aquifer has been depleted by about 325 billion gallons every year for at least the past 4 decades, meaning the 40-foot decline in the water supply amounts to about a foot each year. But at least 2 Texas counties west of Lubbock, Palmer, and Castro have plunged more than double that amount, about 100 feet. The aquifer covers parts of 8 states, holds almost 3 billion acre-feet of water, and can run out in 50 years, according to a Kansas study last year. An acre-foot of water is the equivalent of 1 acre of surface area covered by water 1 foot deep, equaling 325,853 gallons. The Texas Tech Center estimates 4 counties in Texas have less than 15 years before groundwater is exhausted for irrigation. USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service created the Ogallala Aquifer Initiative, a conservation effort involving technical and financial assistance to landowners and land managers. It was designed to reduce the quantity of water removed from the aquifer, improve water quality, and enhance the economic viability of farming and ranching. Despite these last-ditch efforts, today the aquifer is being depleted at an annual volume equivalent to 18 Colorado rivers. Although precipitation and river systems are recharging, a few parts of the northern aquifer, in most places, nature cannot keep up with human demands. Better legislation could have been passed in order to help regulate the water to the people in appropriate conservable amounts. More could have been done before almost facing the complete drying out of the entire aquifer by means of using less and educating people more about the amounts that were in the aquifer and the amounts that they're using up per year. If our society were more focused on long-term costs to our environment than short-term gains in our economy initially, this outcome could have been prevented.